I, female, have been married to my husband Jeff for a year. He has a daughter, tween, with his deceased wife. When I first met Jeff, it was obvious that he was struggling as a single parent. For my stepdaughter's birthday, he'd usually get a cake from the bakery. This has been the case since her mom passed away. I wanted to bake her a birthday cake for her upcoming birthday, which was last week, as a gesture to show some motherly love and support. Jeff agreed, and he told me what his daughter's favourite flavours are, what she likes, and so on. I baked the cake in the flavour she liked and the icing she liked, but one thing needed to be added, and that was the blueberries. I couldn't include them because I went to the nearest store and they didn't have them. I was running out of time and couldn't get them, so I just left the cake as is, thinking it wouldn't be a big deal. The party started and Jeff was busy taking care of everything else. He then came into the kitchen and asked to see the cake before bringing it out. I showed it to him, and he got so angry when he saw no blueberries on top. He went on and on about how I didn't fully commit to making the cake and that he trusted me to take care of it, and said that he should have just ordered one from the bakery. We got into an argument, and he ended up taking it and throwing it in the trash can. I was stunned as he said, "You know what? Forget it, I'll get one from the bakery." I blew up and screamed at him. He told me to stop, but I went upstairs, got dressed, and left. He tried getting me to stay, but I refused and went to my parents. He later called and texted about how I overreacted and hurt him and my stepdaughter by leaving. He also said I created this situation by not properly making the birthday cake just because I didn't put blueberries on top. I refused to respond, but my parents say he was justified since he must have felt pressure from the stress of making his daughter happy on her birthday. He keeps trying to speak to me, but I don't respond. Am I the idiot? Did I overreact? Not the idiot. He threw away a homemade cake because there were no blueberries on it, and you think you overreacted? Lady, wake up. Has he had explosive reactions like this in the past? Because that's kind of scary. If he reacts this way over missing blueberries, what happens when something really goes wrong? OP, this. I get it's his daughter's birthday, but he threw away the cake. He then tries to get you to stay, to have you there to blame, and says you overreacted. I'm sorry, this guy has some serious control and anger issues he needs to work through. I bet you he was angry OP left so that she wasn't around for him to blame. You know, those offhand comments like, "Oh, this is a quick store-bought cake because we had a little snafu with the other cake," or, "Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie, I had to get another cake because stepmom didn't make the right one." He probably still made those comments, especially in her absence, so she can't defend herself. And did the cake he bought have blueberries on it? Or did he even buy her a cake, or did he just blame OP for there being no cake at all? He could have even told his daughter that her stepmom threw out the cake and refused to come to her party because of her. I truly could see a man like this doing something like that. From his victim's blamey phone call, it's clear to see he isn't afraid to be manipulative. Like, I'm sorry, but he can go get a new cake, but he couldn't go get blueberries to put on top. This was never about the blueberries, in my opinion. This was a massive bomb just waiting to go off, and for some reason, the blueberries were what detonated it. What's the bet that the cake was the one OP's stepdaughter's mother used to make and it was never going to be just right, even if it did have blueberries on it? I wonder if the parents were abusive and that's why OP ended up with an abusive husband. That would also explain why they excused the husband's behavior. He's already verbally abusing you, humiliating you and treating you like crap after only a year. His behavior is completely insane. I cannot imagine being married to someone who would ever treat me this way. You need to annul this marriage immediately and start making plans to leave. This is not going to get better. Background. My girlfriend, 25, and I, 26 male, have been together for over 2 years, and we've lived together for 10 months. Last weekend, my parents stayed at ours overnight on Saturday due to a wedding they were attending nearby. The wedding was to be late in the day, the ceremony was to happen at sunset, and there was a reception afterward. I live only a few kilometers from the venue where the wedding was taking place. My parents asked if they would stay over on Saturday night as they live approximately a 45-minute drive from me. Rather than drive home late after the wedding, they asked me a week beforehand if they could stay at mine and leave on Sunday morning. I didn't see an issue with having them for one night. This is where the problem happened. During the visit, my mom commented a few times on the state of things and how it looked like we hadn't cleaned. I didn't think it was bad until my mom started pointing things out to my girlfriend, but I did agree with my mum. It was not a fit state for guests. Now this is where the problem happened. I work in marketing, so my job is 9 AM to 5 PM on weekdays. My girlfriend works in the fire brigade, so she works rotating shifts and not just business hours on weekdays like myself. She worked until the Thursday night before my parents came to stay. She was off work on Friday, but even though she knew my parents were coming to stay, she didn't tidy up or prepare. I was embarrassed once Mum started bringing it up. And now my girlfriend is angry with me for not defending her to my mom and has gone to stay with her aunt and isn't talking to me. She says that I didn't notice anything wrong until my mum kept pointing it out to her. Then I should have defended her to my mum and also not let her take all the blame. I've pointed out to her that she was off on the Friday before they arrived. However, she said, 1, I work from home whereas she doesn't, and 2, they're my parents and I didn't ask her first if they could stay. She was unexpectedly called back to work on Sunday because one of her colleagues was sick and was in isolation, and my girlfriend was needed in his place. She's been angry since she left on Sunday and was even short with my mum, even though Mum was just trying to help. Who's right here, me or my girlfriend? You are the idiot, dude. Better yet, you knew your parents were coming and you could have prepared your apartment as well. Why would your girlfriend be expected to prepare for your parents? Hopefully your girlfriend has seen your true colours and will act accordingly. Exactly. OP is the idiot, not just because he allowed his mom to bully his girlfriend, but because he didn't even realise his mom was being a misogynistic idiot. In fact, he sounds like a misogynistic idiot himself. Imagine working from home and not taking time to clean before your parents come, on top of knowing your partner works a demanding job with long hours. Yeah, she had a day off, but tell a nurse they should tidy up the house more after they get off a 12-hour shift and see how that works out. But he works in marketing until 5 p.m. How would he be able to manage a responsibility such as cleaning up his crap? Damn man, baby. If I was OP's partner and had spent the week doing her job, I would not be cleaning for his parents' arrival on my day off either, especially when it's likely he's been the one making the mess all week. Of course she's angry, you complete douche canoe. Let her take all of the blame for having a messy house. If you invited people to stay, you should have cleaned beforehand, and when that didn't happen, you should have shouldered all of the blame. Duh! Is your girlfriend or your maid? You're a grown adult, clean your house. It's not her sole responsibility. My son is in college, 19. I'm going to be blunt, he was a nightmare to try to teach things to. I would sit him down and show him how to do his laundry, for example. He would leave halfway through and then screw up when doing it himself. I would show him again and he would still mess it up. He broke the vacuum since he refused to pick up the large stuff. It was for everything, and I believe it was to get out of chores. We once got into a huge argument since I made him clean up the whole kitchen after he spilled the garbage all over the floor. It didn't rip, he didn't tie the top. I got a call today about how I didn't teach him to balance a checkbook. I tried. He ended up overspending on his credit card and will now have credit card debt. He asked for the money to pay it off since it's my fault he messed up. I told him no. This started an argument and I told him it's not my fault he messed up and he can't blame me. He called me a jerk and called his grandparents and they're on my back now. Edit, balancing a checkbook is when your transaction matches on the bank statement and you're not overspending money you don't have. Ha ha ha, not the idiot. He's playing you. He has the internet. Tell him to Google. Do not keep placating him. He's still looking for skeins to be responsible for his life. You don't have to balance a checkbook like it's some kind of magical task. If your budget for the month is $500, then everything you spend in the month has to add up to less than $500. This isn't magic. It's addition and is taught in elementary schools. Tell grandparents they can pay off the credit card if they're so concerned. Just make sure you don't. He's 19 and it's time for him to grow up. If you bail him out, he'll never change. And then in a few months you'll have to bail him out again, and again, and again. In this instance, you're not the idiot, but this sounds like years of dysfunction. And did you ever try to find out if there were underlying causes? Possible reasons for his frustration and struggle to learn things? Ultimately, how your 19-year-old acts and spends their money is not your fault, but this also sounds like only the tip of a massive iceberg of issues. Has your son ever been tested for ADHD? Or just spend the last 19 years telling him how messed up he is? Maybe there's a reason for this behavior. It's obvious OP wrote off the child years ago when he was, in fact, still a child because he couldn't meet OP's standards. Whatever happened to empathy and understanding when teaching people? LOL. There's so much being left out here. It sounds like you have a crap relationship with your son. The chores themselves are not the issue here. You could be a bad teacher. Ever think of that? Came to say this. Why do you hate him? You sound so angry through the whole thing. When you tried to teach him, did you only do it once and immediately give up when he didn't do it perfectly? I'm 29, I live alone, and I still can't do laundry the way my nana taught me. As others have said, did you get him tested? Did you even have the tiniest amount of patience? Or did you scream he's a screw-up every time and give up? Something about this screams a bad parent. My male teen stepmom is turning 50 in a few weeks, and my younger siblings and dad are planning a video tribute for her. My pre-tween sister is the one who asked me to call her mom for the video originally. She said it would make everyone happy if I did. I told her I would gladly speak on the video, but I would not call her my mom. My sister asked me why, and she got emotional quickly. She asked me if I didn't want to make her mom the happiest for her birthday. I told her that her mom wasn't my mom and I wouldn't call her that in a video, but I could still say how awesome she is. My dad got involved more heavily after that. He told me the kids know how much their mom wishes I would acknowledge her as my second mom, and he said if I can't do it for her milestone birthday, then when am I going to? I told him never. I said we discussed this a lot in the past, and my dad said that things normally change when kids start to grow up and appreciate someone being there. I said I can appreciate my stepmom and even like her, but that doesn't mean I'll ever consider her my second mom or want a second mom. My other two siblings, who are younger, were brought into the debate. I call it a debate, but really it was just Dad trying to get the kids to pressure me into doing what they wanted. And I know my siblings want it because they've asked before why I don't call my stepmom Mom, and why I don't want her to be my mommy too. My pre-tween sister offered to share her with me. She said I shouldn't be without a mom, which is when I explained that I did, and she died. Background, my mom died when I was 7 and I was 8 when my dad married my stepmom. My half-sister was born a year later. My dad and stepmom wanted me to embrace my stepmom as more of a parental figure than I did. I saw her more like an aunt or extended family. I like her, I'll hang out with her without a complaint and I'll listen if she tells me to do something, but she's not my mom and I don't call her mom or invite her to mom things for Mother's Day. We did family therapy when I was in middle school because Dad wanted to address my refusal to accept her as an equal parent and mother figure. The parents told them it was natural for some kids and healthy for some, to follow my lead and not to push or make a big deal out of it. Now it's become a big deal again. The whole thing has been going on for 3 weeks and my stepmom found out about it. She was hurt that I didn't want to. She told them to leave it, but my dad and sister said you could see how upset she was, that I couldn't bring myself to call her mom just once for the video. My sister said I'm so mean and I should love her mom more than I love mine. My dad said my stepmom took on another woman's son and has raised me the best she could as her own. He said if I can't say the word mom for one video, I hate her and want to put her in her place and remind everyone that she's not good enough. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Them trying to pressure you into doing that is idiotic though. You can tell your stepmother how much you appreciate her and care for her, and you can give an emotional speech about that on the video without necessarily calling her mom. And even if you caved in and called her mom on the video, that wouldn't be the end of it. And I think they demand you call her mom from then on. Sorry you're going through this, my dude. Your story is thoughtful, respectful and honest. I'm just going to say you clearly got that from your mom. It's crap that your dad is using your halves to try to bring the family together, when in fact he's making them the wedge that will break it apart. In 2 years, be prepared for the major change across the board if they don't force you to change your mind. It will get either super heated or super chilly at home. Stay strong. I wish your dad would have an epiphany about what a great kid he's driving away. Much love. Last night I, female 46, had a glass of wine while watching a movie with my daughter, teen, and she asked me if she could try some. Normally I'm strict with my children when it comes to alcoholic beverages, but I didn't think a little wine would hurt, so I poured her a glass. I told her that this would be a once-in-a-blue-moon exception. My husband, 48, on the other hand, was not okay with this. When he came into the living room and saw her with the wine in her hand, he lost his mind. He started shouting at me, asking why the heck I let her drink alcohol at her age, and said she could easily become addicted to it. I immediately felt bad and apologized, but my husband was still angry with me over this. I don't think he trusts me anymore. Am I the idiot for letting my teen daughter drink? Edit, his family actually does have a tragic past. When my husband was a little kid, his father drank too much and passed away on Christmas Eve night. Not the idiot. This is the perfect way to introduce your daughter to it. It's a safe, controlled environment with her people, her parent she trusts most in the world. You want her to learn healthy habits, and drinking in moderation with you right next to her removes a lot of the appeal of it. You're taking away any lingering mystique or stigma. If it's not forbidden, or an adult thing she's not allowed near or trusted with, then it loses a lot of the appeal. Binge drinking is a real issue, especially in college, and a lot of it stems from how we treat alcohol as something that's to be hidden. I'm going against the grain here, but you are the idiot, not because you introduced her to wine. Plenty of us would say that this is exactly the healthiest way to teach older kids to have a responsible relationship with alcohol before they leave home and are on their own. But she is underage, and you have a co-parent who this should have been discussed with. I think to deny them any input on a decision like serving a drink to your child for the first time was a mistake worth apologizing for. OP, you blinded your partner and took an important decision without consulting their opinion. Also, it's not just illegal at 16 because governments are lame, there are biological reasons why teens should not be having it. Also, having a sip is way different from having a glass of wine. If you wanted your kid to try it, you didn't have to offer a full glass. I would be livid if my husband did this. Did you see OP's edit that her husband's father had issues and died on Christmas Eve due to alcohol? This makes her even more awful. Obviously, parents should agree to something like this, but in this specific situation, it's far worse. This was an idiot move because this is clearly a new horizon for your child, and so it needs to be a joint parenting decision. Very obviously, this wasn't something you and your husband had discussed previously and already had a united stance on, so this was a parenting fail.